Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 7. Is it 7 now?
Good start. I think it's 7.
7 of the British Boxing Blog podcast. Slightly later than normal this week, Tuesday. Hopefully,
a few extenuating circumstances, terrible weather,
my hangover,
and a good Super Sunday all contributed to us being a Tuesday night now recording.
So Tuesday night here in a very, very, very cold Darlington, but again, good to be here, and I'm sort of glad we've stuck at it because could have easily sort of binned it off this week.
Very tempting to sack it off for this week.
Yeah, but no,
the extra couple of days have actually led themselves really well because obviously some big news come out today.
I've got a shitload to talk about
that we will try and fit in, as well as the previous weekend's reviews as normal. A preview of some of the boxing that's going on tomorrow. Actually, don't often say that on a Tuesday.
No, big fights tomorrow.
There's a decent amount of boxing on for a Wednesday.
Just if I'd shut this hangover off on Sunday, then would have. Leicester could have just banged on about Degale all night, but now we've got to talk about Tyson and
so I'll have to scrap all my detailed notes about Degale and try and fit some more in. So where do you want to start?
We might as well react straight away to this afternoon's breaking news regarding everybody's two favourite gypsies, Tyson and Fury.
I believe you might have something to say about that.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favourites as well.
I'd love to know your top 10.
Top 10
if we've got more time.
Top 10 travellers. 20 Gary Corson could be one if he wins tomorrow. But Thomas Ward, Martin Ward. Anyway, no. Shut up, man, will you? No. We'll start reacting to that news. What did you think? Positive, most of it. I know
it is for the Furies.
It is for those two.
I think there's
Peter
a fair
Fury,
bit.
He's in there. Anyway, so God.
Big John.
Oh, I was scared of Big John. Anyway, yeah, it is positive for those two. And it was greeted with a lot of positivity today, I guess, in the boxing world.
Be careful with the use of the word positive. I got them into trouble in the first place.
I could have done with being negative, but no, it was a positive reaction today. And it's he's obviously buzzing Tyson, and I guess Huey is too. It would be good to see him. It's one obstacle out the way for him. I guess he's still without a license. Let's not forget that bit. But
I think that's going to be a formality. If he wants it and seriously commits himself to getting it, he's going to get one either through the British board or another one. We've seen that with David Hay, and there are ways around it. So hopefully he gets back active and gets a fight some point in the early part of next year, and we see him kick on and get back in that mix.
My instant reaction was that UKAD, UKAD, are we calling it UKAD?
Yeah, UKAD. United Kingdom Anti-Doping. My
instant reaction was that they bottled it, basically.
Well, you highlighted a bit because I hadn't read through the full the documents and the statements that Tyson had released on his social media. But you highlighted a section and it said, in recognition of the respective counter-arguments and the risks inherent in the dispute resolution process, each side has accepted a compromise of its position.
That said to me, in as many words, that we're shitting myself, basically,
basically,
on any lawsuit taken by the Furies.
When you think about what Tyson Fury could earn and sue them for in terms of loss of earnings, there's no way they have that sort of money to back that up. And I think Tyson's sort of said, right, well, if we draw a line under it, call it a quits or whatever, I can get back boxing.
There'll be no appeal.
You're not going to...
no appeal for what's gone on. I think, is it the Christian Hammer fight now that's removed from Tyson's record or something, and it's the No-Mas-chenko fight.
Yeah, that rings a bell. They're backdated for 2 years, aren't they?
So I think that's what it is. It's the compromise is the key word here. Okay, the Furies will, accept the findings that there were positive tests, although denied all knowledge of taking any substances. UKAD will then, backdate the bans, and as of today, you're free to box, and obviously Tyson's not yet.
I think it could set a dangerous precedent, though.
That was my thoughts on that.
If you're a big name boxer, perhaps a humble boxer, and you feel any sort of test or have any sort of dispute with UKAD, do you then say, right, well, I accept that the test was positive, I deny any wrongdoing.
Have you then got UKAD over?
Let's reach a compromise, otherwise I'll sue you for
everything you've got,
tens of millions.
Of course.
And then are they in just the position where they've had a positive test, but then they're failing to prosecute, they're not taking it through. And again, I've got no idea what's actually gone on, but the whole way it's been dealt with just seems to have dragged on and on and on.
It is. I've put on Twitter today, I said, why, this has dragged on, as you say, from the summer, from maybe before that.
Kicking the table.
Oh, sorry. This has dragged on for a while. Could this not have been put to bed sooner? But who knows? But maybe now's the right time for Tyson. You know, I've seen him on the TV more lately. He seems to be in a better place now mentally. Who knows? If you know, he seems to be more with it. He seems to have his hunger back, I guess. But I don't know. I'm pleased. Like, I'm not sitting here calling the Furies drug cheats or anything like that. You know, maybe there's extenuating circumstances for the positive test. I don't know. Could these things be found natural in the body? Because every other test from that came back negative. I don't know, and it's probably not for us to speculate. And
wasn't
just deal with you deal with the facts, can't you?
Their justification of it, they came out and said it was some contaminated meat. It was being eaten ostrich or boar or something. Some meat that you wouldn't necessarily normally get. But I think whatever it was that was in there can be found in certain types of meat, or more so. So again, you don't know, and
you don't. But I think it's finally put to bed now, and obviously we just need Tyson to get his license back, and you know, get in shape. By the way, lose some weight. You know, we see snippets on Instagram and Twitter if he's in the gym and he's doing the pads. And
that's it. The same obstacles are still there. Some of them.
Yeah.
One big one's been removed. Let's see if he gets over these other little hurdles, like losing weight, like getting back in fighting shape.
Because that's over 2 years out of the ring now, aren't you? Really? Yeah. So.
And we saw the effects of a long layoff on James Degale this weekend, which obviously we'll talk about in a bit more detail.
Just a bit,
But there's no sort of guarantee that Tyson Fury is going to be anywhere near the same Tyson Fury that beat Klitschko. It'll be interesting to see, and he's always going to generate a lot of interest, whether it's good or bad, isn't he?
Of course he is, and I think him versus Joshua will be probably the biggest fight this country's ever seen, I guess, if it happens, if everything goes to plan before
I imagine Eddie Hearn's been either on the phone or he will be.
Oh, 100%.
Fury and
obviously they're talking about Fury value at some point as well. I don't know about that, but we'll see. That was mentioned. There's endless fights out there for Tyson. I think he probably, as we've said, he needs some sort of comeback fight / tune-up fight, I think. I don't think you'll see him jump straight in with Anthony Joshua by any means, but that might even be a 2019 fight, really, realistically. But who knows? But no, good. You know, I've said probably every week since we started doing this podcast that I'm a big fan of Tyson. You know, I keep saying the same thing all the time, that boxing needs characters, and he's larger than life. He certainly is one, and he's a hell of a boxer as well. I know he plays the idiot sometimes, and he's funny. You know, his Instagram videos are class. You know, dancing around the gym, and you sometimes look and you think, bloody hell, this man's like the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, and maybe he reminds us of like Gaza in some ways, like
flawed genius.
Maybe hasn't reached the national treasure type of status yet. Maybe that Gaza did, but
should have cried when he won his belt.
Well, that's it.
Cemented his legacy.
He just sang instead. But no, that's it. And I think there's a lot of goodwill now with Tyson Fury. People didn't used to like him, if we're all honest, but I think maybe he'd win the popular vote now if a fight between him and Joshua happened. I think. You know,
I think
who do you want to win?
The sort of hardcore, knowledgeable boxing fans that aren't your sort of casual mainstream type, they would prefer Tyson Fury did win just because of the backlash that Tyson has received and the sort of positive media that Joshua gets.
And I think I'm sort of a bit of a turn towards Joshua lately because of some of his activities out of the ring, and which seem to be sometimes strangely brushed under the carpet. You know, whatever happened to those DMs to
I think if that had been Tyson or Hughie Fury, there'd have been a lot more
backlash, Fury and racial slur and what have you would have been, but don't know, I guess that's who you know and who.
Normally we wait until sort of the end and then include any questions. But I'm going to try and throw them in as and when we're going, because obviously we do have a lot to cover.
We've got a lot to talk about, so go for it.
Will Hughie Fury just be known as the cousin of Tyson, who once attempted to win a version of the world title, or will he become a name in the world-class heavyweight scene in his own right? That was the first one from the Boxing Madman.
I know I get the feeling the Boxing Madman's not a huge fan of Hughie. I'm sure he's asked the question about him before. I guess, and I'm totally going to swerve this, I guess time will tell.
I was thinking exactly along the same lines.
I've got no idea. I've seen Hughie.
It depends on what he goes on to achieve, basically.
Hughie on Twitter this week has called out Dillian Whyte. He said he'd be ready on 3rd of February for that fight. Eddie Hearn with IFL last night said no, that's not the case. He spoke to Peter Fury and they don't want they don't want Huey back out until April. So, I don't know.
I think that would be a good fight for both men.
It's a good question.
To be honest.
We could be sitting here now talking about Huey Fury being the world champion. He could have, and he did in a lot of people's minds, beat Joseph Parker that night. So, do you know what I mean? He's had that fight and he lost it. Okay, whether he did or not, who knows?
Am I right in thinking that a while ago the Dillian Whyte fight, they said it wouldn't happen because they were very close and stuff, and they trained together and sparred together and stuff. Obviously. That seems to have gone out the window. That rings a bell.
Yeah, maybe that.
But
I think
it
was respectful on Twitter between those two.
I think that would be a good bout for both men. Dillian Whyte needs that sort of step up. Huey needs something. I think just anything of note, really.
He does,
because even the Parker world title fight, the way it was podcast on YouTube,
it felt low key, didn't it?
I'm trying not to snigger there, but it obviously didn't really work. Didn't seem to get a lot of hype or a lot of press attention
or ticket sales.
Or pay-per-view sales, or
anything.
Just any interest, really, which is a shame.
I watched it on the TV on
Did
YouTube.
You take a day off work either side of it?
Mate, I can't get tomorrow. Gary Corson, Jeff Horn, I'm good. Just sitting watching at my desk. But no, that's it. I think he always is, because of the personalities of the two of them as well. He is always just in some people's eyes going to be, it's Tyson's cousin. You know what I mean? They couldn't meet two different blokes.
Just a sort of quiet man of the family,
absolute quiet man, a gent. Got a lot of time for Huey. I think he comes across as a really nice bloke, as does Tyson, to be honest. But Tyson is, we'll call him more of an extrovert. He's a lot more outgoing. He's a lot more brash. You know.
It was the video I saw today of when Tyson arrived dressed as Batman to the press conference. He gets out with this bright yellow Lamborghini, I think it is. Dressed as Batman, and then Huey's walking along next to him just in his normal suit and stuff, having a conversation as if that's the most normal thing in the world.
There's the contrast, and
it sums that up perfectly.
He boxes how he boxes, and not everyone liked it. Not everyone, he ran away from Parker for 12 rounds, but I think that's harsh. Huey's a talented kid, and again, you forget how young he is. He's a young kid as well. He just needs to come back. He maybe needs to start again, and there's some big fights out there for him. As you say, the Dillian Whyte one probably won't happen, but maybe it makes perfect sense. The sort of, maybe at similar stages, we'll call it fringe world level.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Dillian
would dispute that. He would say, well, no, I'm ranked highly with a lot of people.
He can dispute whatever he wants. He hasn't got a world level win on his belt.
No, he hasn't. Yeah.
On his records or under his belt.
No, but I think I understand that they find it hard, to find an opponent for Dillian again for February the 3rd. He seems quite hard to match at the minute. I don't think Lucas Brown seems to want any part of it. He's trying to wait for Parker. Eddie Hearn did mention a couple of names last night in that IFL interview I watched. The guy that beat Chisora for the European title was maybe one that's being looked at.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That the
Caballel, that's the one. That makes sense, I guess. But anyway, going back to Huey, without wanting to sit on the fence, Mr. Boxing Madman, which I am doing. I guess time will tell, mate, to be honest. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And he's got time on his side. And I'm sure Peter, his dad, will have a plan for him. And, there's fights out there for him. And let's see what happens in April. And let's see how it goes next year. Could be a huge year for both Furies.
I believe you've caught up since the weekend on James Degale.
I have. Didn't watch live, but
thoughts.
But my God, thoughts. Thoughts. I've got a lot of thoughts.
I'll give mine first, while you're stumbling around.
No, I've got.
So for those who didn't watch it, I watched it live and tried to score. It's the first fight I've tried to actually score sort of round by round in a while.
How did you have it?
In the end, it was 115, 113 to Caleb Truax.
You had that.
I had that.
Right.
I gave Degale the first round. I think he came out in an orthodox stance, which obviously he has been known to switch it, but more predominantly a southpaw. And I think within about 30 seconds he'd gone back to southpaw, looking to land some hooks, and generally seemed quite sort of bright and made a good start. I give him the first round, and then I thought that Truax did enough to get the second. I'm not going to go through this round by round and say who I gave what to, but even if, and I know some people did, you scored that second round to Degale as well.
I think I did.
Truax was starting at some point in that round to get a bit of a foothold in it and get a bit of momentum, and I think that continued throughout. He didn't win every round from that point. Degale fired back with a couple, but the fifth round, unbelievable. I was watching that, and
those uppercuts were...
you could argue that was a 10-8 round, even though he didn't drop him. He was hitting him with some big shots. He backed him off to the ropes. He was pinning him in the corner almost at will. For someone who was such a big underdog, at that point you thought, right, Degale's in a fight here. Will he respond? And he came out in the 6th and did. He came out and backed him up and won that round. Looked impressive when he was in the middle of the ring. But I think all too often in that fight, and even through his career, he's taken parts of it off. He did
that in the Duell fight. He did that in the...
I remember watching
the beauty fight.
I remember watching before that. It was like after his loss to Groves.
Yeah.
He was fighting on the Hennessy shows on Channel 5 and against sort of European level opponents. Right. He was doing the same sorts of things, backing off onto the ropes, looking to coast through rounds, edging decisions and winning the fights, but maybe just by 1 or 2 rounds. And I think that sort of style, Truax had prepared for it, he'd planned for it.
He had.
And he came out with the perfect sort of counter style, really. He cancelled out most of the good things Degale did. There weren't enough of them, to be honest.
Just to say, just before I start sort of giving you my thoughts on Degale, like, massive credit to Truax. Like, to be honest, I wasn't too familiar with him. The bookies obviously weren't. The odds were ridiculous. Upset of the year, amazing performance. Seems like a really likeable fellow as well. Unbelievable. Like, balls, hard man, just class. But then again, to sort of not disrespect him here, but this is Caleb Truax we're talking about.
James Degale hand-picked him.
I know. We'll call him a fringe level contender. Then you know what I mean. To be kind.
To be honest,
to be kind. And he walked. It wasn't like anything special. It wasn't a boxing masterclass or anything like that. He marched Degale down that ring and just marched him down and just battered away at him, landed heavy shots, and you think, my God, if Caleb Truax is now doing this to James Degale, like, what would Eubank done? He would have torn him apart. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the thing, you're saying fringe level, but Truax is, as I say, he was picked by Degale personally. He's not an elite fighter. And he was a middleweight coming up in weight. Every time he's stepped up, he's lost. Lost comprehensively to Daniel Jacobs. He lost in a first round knockout to Andre Durrell, who obviously Degale's already beaten. Mm-hmm. So he's not particularly
an elite
come
fighter,
up with any momentum or any real, I don't know, gravitas, any real pull.
Oh, this we touched on this a couple of weeks ago. This, in the mindset of Frank Warren and James Degale and whoever else, BT Sport, was a glorified homecoming fight for James Degale. He's took the money, he's took some good money to take. You know, Eddie Hearn wouldn't put that money up, whatever. But this was essentially what it was. It was a big name headlining at a London show for a glorified, I can easily win this homecoming fight, and it's backfired. It's massively backfired. And Truax isn't an elite fighter, but that is an elite division. And if this man Truax is coming over here causing Degale this type of problems, then it's worrying. It's absolutely worrying. I put some tweets out on Twitter today. I should have probably put this in a written article if I could have. Didn't have time at work, but I watched it. My first thought was, where was his jab? That was never thrown. He boxed from the start. You see it sometimes, like when a fighter hurts his arms, or he gets hurt in a fight, and they box injured, and you can tell they're injured.
Well, I was just going to say that he's obviously had surgery on his right shoulder.
There was nothing he could do from Truax walking him down.
I heard
he couldn't do anything about it.
It was last week. There was a little preview sort of podcast on BBC with Steve Bunce, and he was saying that he'd spoken to Degale, who was saying in training and sparring and whatever, his shoulder was still feeling stiff.
He said that at the pre-fight presser. He said, I hope it should be fine by fight night, and immediately alarm bells.
Just sort of thinking it was going to loosen up as he fought, and it just obviously seemingly it didn't.
To be honest, basically James Degale picked, and his team picked, whoever his team is these days, if he has a team, a fight that he thought was a winnable fight for a decent payday. And he thought he could get through despite not being 100% fit. It was complacent, it was naive, and the fact that there's no rematch clause in there is absolutely mental. That's the biggest schoolboy ever. Like,
do you think that's partially because he hasn't got a set promoter? Obviously, Frank's put up the money and promoted this show. That's a generic
clause you put in any world title fight, for Christ's sake.
I think so, but again, you're talking about how confident he was.
So
Truax afterwards mentioned that part of his sort of fuel for the fight and fuel for his fire was that Degale had mentioned, I think, 5 different fighters who he was facing next.
Well,
so you've got the winner. You mentioned Eubank there before. I think the winner of Eubank's Groves obviously is going on to fight either Callum Smith or Jürgen Bremer, probably Callum Smith. Mm-hmm. The winner of that was there and waiting for Degale to come along and
James Degale still sort of had the keys to that division, really, because he had a world title. He's got a rivalry with Groves that could have picked up at any point if Groves won that. Eubank and him are going at it lately.
Well, they've sparred and stuff, so yeah.
Many fights out there for Degale, and I just think he's absolutely killed himself at the worst time. That division now is thriving, partly because of the Super Series. Groves, Eubank, big characters, and him now getting beat like he did. He wasn't just beat, he was battered.
I personally still think the Groves match is there. The Groves rematch, like Brooke Khan, it will always be there until they both retire.
It will, but
because there's that natural, genuine rivalry there. However, before this, they were talking about a 50-50 split. Now that would be fair. He can kiss goodbye to that.
He's done himself out of any leverage whatsoever he had. He had a world title to bring to the table.
And he will hate that against Groves. There's not a chance he's going to go into a Groves rematch and say, I'll take 20%.
You think Groves now, or Eubank or anyone, are going to say, 50-50?
Whoever wins that Super Series is going to be laughing.
They've pissed themselves laughing at him. I just think it's a devastating defeat at the worst possible time. As he's just said, he's done himself completely out of any leverage he had whatsoever for potential massive fights with Groves and Eubank. He can't bring a world title to the table now, and I just think it's a long way back. Like, in the way he got beat as well, seeing his head go back, the blood, like,
it was so demoralising as well as physically draining.
Something wasn't right. It's a long way back now. Does he have the desire? Does he have the hunger? It could be. Is this the end? He looked a million miles. He looked a million miles away from the fighter that went and beat Durrell and the fighter that fought Barrow Jack. A million miles away.
Seeing James speak after the fight, I think he's clearly looking at his camp, and it's not nice to see, because I hate it when a boxer,
especially those two,
comes off a loss and blames the trainer. But there was something not right, and it was just the way he was speaking, and I can't remember his exact phrasing. But he said, we're going to have to look at certain things, and you could see Jim McDonnell in the background almost just sort of thinking, this could be it, yeah. And I asked on Twitter straight away, I was like, is this the end of their partnership? Not saying it should be.
No,
but from what he said and the way he was
all
sort of talking. Point to
that, don't they?
And then you think, well, will the change do him any good? But potentially it could do. We've seen it before.
Could it be similar to, say, the Frampton change, where I know Jim McDonnell's a bit of a balls to the floor type of trainer. He's flat out, like the Eddie Hearn impressions he does, and how many laps has Degale done today, and he's the fittest, like, bang, it's hardcore sort of thing.
But that fitness
Degale's been a pro
isn't evident in the ring, as we say. Degale,
he looked good.
He takes time off. He just
physically, I mean, aesthetic.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, definitely. But that's not translating into his performances. He's always coasted fights.
Is he living the life out there? I don't know.
Well, there have been rumours that he hadn't been. Obviously, again, that inactivity, 11 months, is going to harm any fighter.
No, it is.
But how you spend that time out is also going to have a massive impact. And as you say, I think a bit of complacency's kicked in, the inactivity's contributed. There's obviously some sort of injury, the fact that he had the surgery, that's contributed. I know he mentioned that he's had surgery on the inside of his nose as well to help his breathing and things, and then obviously taking shots to the face isn't going to help that.
Blood all over the shop.
So I think there are probably 4 or 5 key factors that contributed to that very lacklustre performance.
It was bad. It was really bad. It was.
That's not making excuses. No. They're all things that, if he changes his trainer, are they still going to be there? How's that going to be different?
It was a worrying glimpse into the future, I guess. Really, I just thought, he's been around a long time now, I guess, when you think about it. Maybe some miles under the belt, I don't know, but some hard fights, But I just think all that goodwill he built up in the States, and because he was never a great popular fella, really, Degale, after the Gross fights, and he was boxing Channel 5 and what have you. But then
I think that got to him at certain points.
It did, but remember, he beat Durrell, and and he went over there and he beat Beauty. And
which show was it? Was
it Joshua? And he got that round of applause, and he was going, "Is that for me? Is that for me?"
And it was heartwarming. He was buzzing.
It was, and now you just think, he's just gone up and smoked like that overnight, and it's a long road back. It honestly is. Does he have the desire? Does he change his trainer?
I think he'll roll the dice with a new trainer somewhere.
But he's a free agent, and Eddie Hearn alluded to this again, and he said the worst thing you can be in boxing is a free agent, because we discussed this before.
A promoter would say that, though.
No, but Degale put his eggs in that basket and thought, right, I'm going to take a 1-fight deal here. There's some boxers do, some boxers don't. He had, there was no 5-fight plan or whatever there. That was.
He could have had a bit of security.
Yeah, Frank Warren's going to give me the most money to take this fight that I can win. Eddie Hearn wasn't prepared.
It's not a fight I can win, it was a fight he was going to win. That's what he was thinking.
Eddie said, I'm not paying it because, it was a run-of-the-mill defence, and I'm not going to recoup it. But, basically, he's he's went out on his own and he's took that one fight. Do you think Frank Warren gave a shit really on Saturday night that he lost? Definitely not. He had him on the bill. You know what I mean?
He did, and I think in Frank's defence, he came out and said that he
is going to try. A few years back,
he is going to try and help him get the rematch. And I think the situation Truax is in now. You're saying about Degale holding all the cards. I don't think Truax has that sort of leverage. He's still going to be a B side, and I hate the A side, B side.
Do. I know you are. Yeah, of course, he will be. He'll have to travel the gate to defend. Yeah, definitely.
But he's in a fantastic position now where he's got Degale who will want a rematch.
Super Series
winner. Super Series winner, Super Series loser. Say the Groves Eubank loser.
I just think
they wouldn't have the money to say to Caleb Truax, come over here.
Yeah, of course.
I've just lost this fight, but I want to bounce back. I'll fight you. I'll beat you.
I seen Rocky Fielding call him out the other day.
Right, five with the IBF. Well, why not?
I just say, a lot of people fancy the chances.
Anyone in the top 10 or consider themselves around that will fancy their chance of beating him with a realistic chance of getting him over.
I just think he's I don't know, maybe he's signed with Al Heyman, and I think that left a bit of a bad taste with the matchroom lot, and I just think now he's left himself in a really vulnerable position. James Degale now, he's sort of got to start from the bottom up with no strategy whatsoever and no team in place to pick up the pieces with him. Do you know what I mean? He should now be starting James Degale, and he needs a team around him who will probably say, right, this is what you're doing for your next 3 fights. We're going to do this, this and this, and this is how you get back to the top, blah, blah, blah. Where now it just feels like overnight he's just left himself a knout.
It's interesting no belt, that
maybe no trainer, no promotional team, no strategy. Just
a few people I was listening to and reading on social media and stuff said about one of the main issues with Jim McDonnell is that he's a bit of a yes man in terms of he's telling Degale he's winning the fight. He's saying yes, it's close, but you're winning. You're doing the right thing, Jim. Blah blah blah. And you go back to 2011 when Groves fought Degale. George Groves said the exact same thing. He said Degale needs that reassurance and the constant praise. Even he joked, obviously, when he's in the gym on the treadmill, he's got Jim McDonnell going, yes, James, great running, James, good job.
Jim brags about James like it's his son.
But that then translates, and do you think then, as you say, he's had that team just sort of saying, yeah, do what you want, you pick him, you do this, you do this.
Maybe he's got comfortable,
he needs someone to say, no, hang on,
that's it.
This is what we're going to do.
Maybe he got comfortable, but
you give credit to Truax, and deservedly so. He's let to come across and do it.
Class.
Our next question is about a little bit about Truax and a bit about what we talked about actually. Could you see Callum Smith in particular dropping out of the Super Series to fight Truax for his newly acquired title? With Degale's loss last night, what does he need to do to make a return to world level? I think we've answered that. Although he says, I think he'll link up with Adam Booth.
Well, I was going to say that'd be a perfect match, whether or not because of the history with Groves. I don't know, but I think Adam Booth's a perfect match for a lot of fighters. I think he's brilliant.
I think if he took on Degale, that would almost cement the Groves rematch because you've got an extra angle in there to do that. And
there'd be no shortage of people that want to work with James Degale, promoters, no trainers, but because he's still a good fighter, but he wasn't on Saturday.
Well, one of the benefits of us doing this tonight rather than on Sunday has meant that I can manage to listen to the Boxing with Silent podcast, or most of that on my way from work today, before we've done ours. And what someone, I think, had either sent into them or one of them was discussing was a potential link up with Sauerland Promotions. And similar to what we mentioned with David Price the other week.
Go off a bit.
Some shows in Germany, they've got some, like the likes of Zeuger and a few sort of decent level.
The other fella,
Fagenbutz. They would be sort of nice little sort of fights to gauge where Degale's at.
Aye, there would be.
What about Callum Smith? We'll answer that one before we.
My answer to that is hopefully not. I'm a big advocate of the Super Series, a big fan of it, and I don't want to see any of the original people pull out. Maybe he could, and maybe he thinks it's a shortcut to a world title. But for me, if I was Callum, and I have noticed lately that they kept saying Sauerland and the Super Series, whoever does Twitter and stuff like, the announcement's very soon, for Callum Smith Bremer. This was over a week ago now, and there's still no actual announcement.
There was a bit of wrangling with that because Joe Gallagher was saying he wasn't happy with it being in Berlin.
I think that's bollocks personally, but I do. I'm sorry, but Scotland came to Liverpool. There was no neutral venue then.
Oh no, I agree with you entirely. Yeah, I think it's just a case
Callum Smith's been an elite amateur. He's boxed all over the world, and he should back himself to go to Germany and beat Jürgen Bremer.
I think he will. To be honest, it's probably just mind games.
Well, I think so. But in answer to the question, I hope he doesn't pull out. I would like to see Callum Smith go to Germany or wherever and beat Bremer, and then I think Callum Smith, George Groves, Callum Smith, Chris Eubank is a hell of a final. Like, it's huge in this country, and it's a big fight. All right, Callum Smith hasn't got the personality of say the other two and the names we mentioned, but he's waited for this chance for a long time, and he should be in big fights now. And all right, he could beat Truax, obviously he could, but no is the answer to the question. I hope he doesn't.
I agree with you. I think the fact that he's entered this tournament when he could have had a shot at a WBC
he had a shot. He did. You're right there.
He's committed to it.
Yeah.
I dare say Chris Eubank, out of the remaining sort of 4 contestants, would be the most likely to drop out. He's obviously they know about Degale doing things his way. The Eubanks definitely do things their own way.
Definitely, but they've sold at Manchester United now. I'd be massively disappointed.
That fight against Groves is a bigger fight for them. One the more they'd like to take, they prefer to take. But just like you've said there, it's a easy chance or easier chance for a world title.
2 days later, Rocky Phelan's on Twitter, and you think, well, good on you, Rocky. Why in the hell not? Because there'll be a lot of super middle.
Do you look and think, well, I'll go and beat Truax.
I've got IBO and IBF. I'm not saying the IBOs.
No, but then you've got them. Then does he fight the winner?
There'll be a lot of super middles now who he has probably picked up in eyebrows raised, thinking, bloody hell, hello. This is
that's the thing. You've got the two other champions, Ramirez and Benavidez.
Well, of course.
They fancy unifying. Obviously, both over there in America.
A lot of people fancy the chances against James Degale now. I bet you're watching that. He's a good name to have on people's records. But I hope Callum doesn't, or anyone doesn't drop out. I'm a big fan of it, and I think, he's got this far. He had a good fight with Skoglund in the quarters. Why not? Just stick at it. As you said, he could have waited to be, he was the mandatory for the WBC. He could have had that shot. No, I know it was dragging on a bit, but he could have. So no, I hope it stays as it is, and I hope the Super Series concludes, because I think it would damage the brand if there's dropouts. It would make people think, oh, this is a bit unreliable. It's not a
priority.
And it's been quite seamless so far, and it's the semis dates are now announced.
I can't wait for the semis.
All bar that one.
The super middles and the cruisers. Some fantastic bouts.
I just think you
just want to see it through to completion, don't you?
It is.
Really?
It's been refreshing for boxing. It's been better than the Super 6 was a few years back. It's more regular. It's just better, and I hope it stays.
And it gives you a good idea, like what we sort of talked about with the different sanctioning bodies. It gives you a clearer idea of who's the man to beat at that division.
Definitely.
If they can attract the better fighters, doesn't have to necessarily be the best. Then you've got the winner fighting somebody else. Like could have been Degale, could be Truax, could be whoever.
That's it. But it's a good question, but I personally hope Callum doesn't. I think Callum probably now needs to win that semi, and he deserves a good crack at Groves at Eubank. It's just like, come on, he should be in these fights now.
In boxing, you sort of come to expect the unexpected, and nothing's impossible. However, I think our message there is hopefully Smith, Eubank, Grove, they all stay in the tournament, face each other in the terms and conditions they've agreed to.
Definitely,
they're obviously happy at the time to sign up, and I dare say there'll be legal ramifications if they don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some sort of financial penalties there as well. So hopefully, for all concerned, they continue, and then the winner can fight for the IBF champion at the time.
I mentioned what you feel, and then and I just think like, I bet you it has raised a few eyebrows in his camp, especially Eddie Hearn, thinking I could get this man over here again. He's good value. Truax, be a good fight. Those two go to war. They're quite similar in that way. You know what I mean? But he needs a first defence, and if he doesn't do the Degale rematch, but why not? But who knows? We'll watch that space, I guess, and let the bloke enjoy his beers. And then he was having the other night. He was out in London watching the NFL with a few beers, and I thought, well, good on you.
Yeah,
he seems like a thoroughly likeable chap.
What a night out that would be.
Obviously, we're going to focus on Degale from the British angle, and that's what we do. But credit to him, man. Brilliant. Loved. It was a great and the new. It was a brilliant celebration, and no arguments here. He won the fight.
Yeah. But there was earlier on the card there was a and still moment for Lee Selby, and I don't think it could have been any more of a Selby performance.
It was Lee Selby doing what Lee Selby does, I guess.
He boxed really, really well.
Yeah.
He built up a good lead, took some of the early rounds. Ramirez, his opponent, was game, and he'd actually trained out of the same gym as former Selby opponent Montiel. So his coach and his corner knew all about Selby, which he alluded to afterwards. He said, this lad's prepared for me, he knew exactly what I was going to do, but knowing what Selby's going to do and being effective against it are two completely different things. Selby, as the fight wore on, he sort of planted his feet a little bit more, not really ever in danger of hurting him or finish him, but he caught some lovely uppercuts. There was a particular combination he looked to throw quite a lot, and it was leading with that right uppercut and then snapping in a left hook. And I think Ramirez sort of stereotypical Mexican head down aggressive style. It was tailor made for that, and he was catching him coming in. He was spinning out, boxing really, really well, and obviously with that moves on to the Josh Warrington fight. Apparently,
I don't know. Stadium fight? Is it a stadium fight? I'm unsure.
I don't know. I think Warrington obviously
you're banking on a lot of support for Josh because we know Lee doesn't really. He's not a huge seller, is he?
I think. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think Josh he's been steadily building up to this, and like fair play to him.
Are we talking the full Ellen Road here? Are we talking
about 40,000? They were saying, I think.
That's incredible.
It'd be
if Josh Warrington sells 40,000 tickets, I'll be astounded. I know he's popular in Leeds, but there's popular in Leeds and there's
filling the arena
selling
and
out
then
bloody
stadium.
Ellen Road. I thought maybe you'd have the ring on the pitch and maybe half the stands or
similar
a certain
stand, like Bellew with
Goodison, aye. But if they think they can fill, I think that's ambitious personally. But you know, hey,
if that happens and they get a few decent bouts on the undercard,
that massively excites us. Like.
I think it'll be another
Selby
performance. I think he'll box, he'll try and keep the distance.
He wins it, by the way.
Warrington will come forward. I don't think Warrington necessarily has the power to hurt him, even though Selby has been dropped on occasion.
I'm saying I don't like the fight, by the way, but I'm glad. I want them to fight because the British, the British lads should be facing each other in that division.
Well, that's the thing. Carl Frampton will have
weeks ago.
An eye on the winner.
Of course he will. Scott Quigg. Definitely, let's just do it. I think Selby wins it in my opinion, but I just think that's mental.
My first instinct's the same. I think Selby on points, but we'll.
I love Selby, as you said before.
We'll dissect that one, I think, a bit nearer the time.
Just about Saturday, like Selby is Selby, and if he doesn't change when you watch him. He's a hell of a boxer, fantastic. I know not everyone's massively entertained by him, and I get that. And as I said, he comes away. He doesn't fight in Wales because he's not obviously a huge ticket seller. He's always sort of chief supporter on the undercard of people, but. He's had a frustrating and quite a traumatic time, I guess, personally as well, I think. But it was good to see him back and onwards and upwards from now. And I think, again, he's another one that now he's had his defences, he's had his mandatories and whatever. Let's get on with it. And fight Warrington, it's been muted for a long time. They're both the same trainer, same promoter, sorry. Do it. The time's now, the time's the summer, and let's get it made and go for it. We'll try and go. It's not far from us.
Yeah, I agree. Nice northern show. Yeah. Any boxing to the north of England is fine by us.
Oh, it'll be a great atmosphere, mate.
Groves Eubank, Manchester. Warrington, Selby, Leeds. Fantastic.
See you there.
Back down south for the moment, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've got two of the sort of heavy hitters on the card. We'll group them together a little bit, but I'll talk about them.
Can I just say very quickly that there's a guy down south who gets to a lot of southern shows and he writes some good reviews for us. Ian Dolan, he's on Twitter. Give him a follow. And he's wrote us a good wrote a good review which we've posted on our site from Saturday's action. So please give that a read. He's a good lad.
Yeah. We look forward to meeting him one day.
One day we'll go for a pint when we go back down south, or he can come up here. But
the beer will be cheaper up here. I think.
Check out his review, and honestly, we're grateful for him for doing that and send them over to us. We can't afford to pay him, but we'll buy him a pint. Go on, sorry.
So Daniel Dubois, being the first one of the two. Did you see any of it?
Yeah, I did. I've seen it. I've seen
Didn't last particularly long,
but I've seen the knockout. But
yes. Well, to be honest, I was going to say there wasn't much else to see, but
to me, that fight was just sort of them purposely picking Dorian Darch as a Joshua comparison / yardstick / mirror Joshua's record.
Straight after the fight, Frank came out and compared to AJ beating Darch. And he was saying, that was, I think, AJ's fourth fight. It was Dubois, was it his fifth or sixth? Fifth, I think. And he, maybe sixth now. And he was saying, basically, yes, Joshua didn't have him down. I think the commentary mentioned that Joshua stopped him on his feet, whereas Dubois dropped him right at the end of the first round. He sort of got up, redeemed himself, but the writing was on the wall, really. And what a point that Frank did make, and it sort of brought me around a little bit to thinking about Dubois, was just something they mentioned already, the age of how young he is,
so young,
and how sort of relatively inexperienced compared to Joshua at similar stages of their pro career he is. And it's deceptive watching him. If you didn't know how old he was, you would think he was more mature and more experienced.
Mid-20s, wouldn't you?
He's got a nice jab on him, he boxed quite sort of upright.
He's very good amateur, wasn't he?
But he still had a nice sort of, a nice jab to him, and he was thinking about his shots, and then obviously he's got fantastic power, which was just too much for Darch.
You can see the similarities there, and without being cynical, he probably is Frank Warren's version of AJ, and that's what they're doing. They're building him up slowly. They're taking him around the different arenas. I think he's fought Manchester and somewhere else by now. He's in London as well, obviously. and they're not going to rush him. People get excited in this country by like elite heavyweights, and there is hype building around him, and he's young. He won't be rushed. He looks good, but until he fights someone that punches back, we'll never know. But we've said all this about Joshua. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I just think
it's up to Dubois to continue answering the questions as he has been.
People on Twitter, let him fight AJ next year, and you think people that think that need to give the head a shake. He's not going to be anywhere near it, and nor should he be. You know what I mean? One day he'll have to step up, but not yet. And I like what they're doing with him. And
well, even Dodge compared to his recent opponents was a bit of a step up. Like as I say, he got dropped at the end of the first, but Dorian Dodge came out absolutely swinging. It was as if to say, he's like, right, I've tasted that, I don't want to taste it anymore, I'm going to go out swinging here. And he did. He came out and he really tried to put it on him, and obviously he got caught and it was over pretty soon after that. But I'm not saying he came to win, but he did give it a good go. He wasn't just sort of standing there taking the shots.
I'm impressed by Dubois, honestly I am. He cannot not be. It's perfect start with him, and that's what it is. But I think it's important for people, fans, pundits, whatever, Frank Warren as well, to let him be his own man. Like, he's not Joshua 2.0, he's not mini Joshua, he's not young Joshua. Like,
he's not mini anything, he's massive.
I know, I just think that's a dangerous way to guide his career, and he shouldn't be anyone's second choice or second version of someone. Do you know what I mean? Be your own. He's himself, he's Daniel Dubois, and I think, like, I don't want it to be some sort of BT's gimmick version of AJ. Like, let him be his own person, and let's enjoy the journey, and he won't rush, and nor should he. But it's impressive, of course it is. Knockouts are impressive, and the kid's obviously got talent and power and style, and let's see how he steps up in 2018.
He was all of those things. According to Steve Bunce, he's the best 20-year-old since Mike Tyson. Boxing madman says there's no doubt in his ability. However, is he likely to be that good? And he feels too much hype too soon.
I get hype.
I'd agree with that, but I'd agree. We've said this previously that yes, he's getting the hype, and as long as he knocks people out, he's going to continue building that hype. Me personally, I'll consider it a bit more than hype and promotion.
Yeah.
Just what you said, when he steps up.
Of course.
We've already gone over the sort of decent level domestic heavyweights we've got.
There has to be hype, because hype sells, and he needs hype.
And if he does that to someone a bit more durable, obviously you're talking a few fights time, you've got like Dave Allen there, he's a durable heavyweight.
Yeah.
Someone like that, and if he stops or he beats, even if he goes the distance, but he beats,
even if he fought someone like Lewison, like Joe Joyce did,
you
know what I mean, similar yardsticks, see where he goes. But of course there is hype, and I get it, it's dangerous to hype these people, because as you see with David Price, hype sometimes doesn't always happen. But
is it dangerous, because then you hype him up, and yes, you say he doesn't necessarily achieve that elite level or the world level that you're talking about. But so what I said before, if you're aiming for the world title and you get to British European level, is that still a relatively, is that a bit of success?
There has to be hype, and there was hype with him and with Anthony Yard, because the two stars, fledgling stars. I'm not talking about the world champions that Frank Warren's got in BT and Box Nation. I'm talking about the prospects, the future. Like Matchroom did it with Callum Smith, with AJ, with Luke Campbell. You've got to have an eye on the future as well as the present, and those two at the minute are Frank's two golden boys, I guess. And of course,
Yard was the other one I was going to sort of rope in with him.
There's hype for Frank and there's hype from BT, of course.
Because they're at a very similar stage, and Yard's had obviously a few more fights.
14 now, is it?
And he's moving to the cusp of world level. He's on the fringes. But
I like him.
They both have that hype, and for me they're both unproven. I like Yard. I think he looks fantastic in spurts, and in patches he does look world class. He's got the physique, he's got the look,
he can bang,
he's got the power, undoubtedly. He's got a bit of spite as well. He's finished 13 of his 14 opponents.
I noticed on Twitter a couple of people saying, that stoppage on Saturday, come on, he was just a blown up super middleweight, and I thought, well, maybe that's obviously Callum Smith didn't stop him, Sadio Bika didn't stop him, a couple of others have, he'd never been stopped, this fella, but in Yard did.
At the weight below,
exactly. But
I still think Shane Lockout was a step up though in terms of ability and experience.
My doubts are sorry to thingy that interrupt you there. My doubts will come because he's never fought any of his domestic rivals, and it doesn't look likely to do so at the minute to me. I think he'll bypass them completely, personally.
I think he's swerved them, and whether you want to say that as ducking, avoiding, he's been promoted, he's been directed away from them, whatever, he has. The board mandated a shot against Jose Burton. He could have gone in and I'm not saying he would have, but he could have gone in, smashed Hosea Burton, got lots of credit for that, put himself into a mandatory position, beat Buglioni, be the British champion, leave no doubt whatsoever that he's the best light heavyweight in Britain, and then continued on his WBO route to the world title.
I don't think he'll fight Burton or Buglioni personally. I think he'll go a completely different way.
But I don't see the point in getting him to number 5 or wherever he is in the WBO, because they have no intention of matching him with Kovalev, who's the WBO champion.
That's true.
They've got no intention of getting him into a mandatory position to fight Kovalev.
That's a good point.
So why not beat Buglioni, beat Burton, beat some other domestics? You've got Jake Ball fighting Mal-Shinkwin tomorrow. Either of those, in terms of a genuine light heavyweight, would be a good name on Yard's record. And I know it's the Matchroom Frank Warren divide, but
I think the guy fought on Saturday, tell me his name again, pronounce his name.
Siek Locker.
I think Frank will think he's a far more credible, worthy opponent than Shinkwin or Ball. I think he look at them domestic level.
I agree that he is.
He is a name, definitely.
I don't think, in terms of that sort of more casual recognition, that before Saturday night, anyone Yard's beaten was anywhere near even those two.
No, you're right.
Apart from Saturday, they would have been the best name on Yard's record.
Completely agree. It's a shame. I don't like it when the British don't fight the British, and I think Buglioni and Burton and Yard fights, and Callum Johnson, throw him in that mix if you will. Obviously not against Burton because the gym mates, but there's 4 then. I did a poll the other day, who do you think the best is, and Yard won the vote, what have you, but
I think he probably is, but it's that unproven element. He hasn't gone out and shown that. He hasn't proven it.
And it leaves a sour taste when he's not going to do that, and you just think, well, why not, basically.
I think he's got the most potential out of them.
I
think he's the one out of all of them that will get to world level and potentially win a world title.
Same.
But it just, as you say, it's a bit of a sour taste. Just leaves a bit of an unfulfilled feeling that it could have been done. It was mandated. It was there for them to take.
It was.
They could have gotten to a position where they didn't have to necessarily negotiate with Hearn or anything like that. If you're that confident in him, send him over. Let him bash up Eddie's 2 best light heavyweights.
Agreed. The doubts will probably always remain until he fights someone better, and because he's swerved them. But again, on the face of it though, impressive. It was impressive on Saturday. There's no denying that. But again, 2018. I'll see where it goes.
Could be a good year, 2018, with all that you're predicting.
He needs to step up again, and he's 14 fights now. Let's hope he's not another Terry Flanagan in those 30 odd fights. Do you know what I mean? Before he fights anyone of note.
15 for learning, 15 for earning. That's the saying, isn't it?
That's it.
So see who his next opponent is, and again, as I say, I predict that he will go on and potentially get a world title, but there won't be in any rush to do that.
No.
My betting would be they'll have him at fringe level, maybe get a European or something, and hang around until the WBO comes vacant.
It's a risk because, as I said,
someone else has it.
Him and Yard and Dubois are Frank's golden boys now, so a loss for them is catastrophic. They're getting all this hype on the back of Frank's PT shows now, and it's, you know what I mean. It's he doesn't want them to lose, basically. So they look good on the highlight reels with the knockouts and the stoppages, and a lot of people are talking about them, and rightfully so. But maybe he needs to.
Listen, we talked about what sort of difference the BT Sport backing will have for Frank Warren and Box Nation, and it will. Like as you're saying there, there's sort of the Champions League adverts and things, and and Yards. There's an advert I think with Dele Alli's in with Yard.
Massive.
Just that sort of recognition will be huge.
Nation, definitely.
But I don't know if you know, but the Sky Sports, obviously boxing that's on Sky and is sponsored by, I think it's Maxi Muscle or something like that. Anthony Yard sponsored by them, so he's actually on the adverts on Sky as well. Yeah,
I never noticed that.
Fantastic. I saw that. I noticed something the other week when I was watching something, and I was like, oh, that
must have been on a while though. They haven't updated them.
Probably, it was
a couple of years old or so.
So there he is on Sky.
One of Frank's flagship fighters is on the Sky Sports boxing advert. Brilliant. Yeah, you should tweet them that.
I'm sure it's been. Other people will have noticed that as well. But it just made me laugh seeing him there.
As you mentioned before, it's actually Wednesday for tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's
we're on Sky Sports. Yeah, we'll take this one off our list.
Let's go for it. And obviously you've got Jeff Hall and Gary Corson as well, which is quite a busy Wednesday. Sky Sports show. Obviously it's been boosted undercard wise now because of the fallout from Tony Bellew, David Hay. I know Josh Kelly's now been added. Coley's on there now.
I was surprised to see Josh Kelly's going into a 10-rounder.
Not wasting any time, Josh, is he?
No, they're not, and it's refreshing to see because we talked about obviously prospects getting padded out records and end up with 30 undefeated fights before you've even really boxed anyone. But it's an interesting one because yes, he's obviously a talent, but he wasn't. He's not an Olympic gold medalist. He's not world champion as an amateur. He's successful, good level of an amateur. Definitely a top level amateur, but never went on and sort of cemented himself with that at that world level.
No, definitely.
And yet they really do seem to be moving him on to pace. And I think Adam Booth's notorious for that. He's done the same with Ryan Burnett. He did it with George Groves.
He didn't want to be messed about, to mess around and to be fresh in. I think I'm all for that.
He's fighting a fella from France who's fought for the French title a couple of times unsuccessfully. He's got 8 defeats on his record, but he does have 25 wins. Again, you can't read too much into the records. A quick glance at BoxRec, I think when he stepped up to sort of domestic or fringe even European level, he's fallen a bit short. So it's a good test over Kelly.
No, it is. I'm pleased to see him still.
He's not, he's fighting another fight with a winning record. Again, take records with a pinch of salt.
Again, he's got to be looking at titles next year, I think. You're talking about elite amateurs, like you've said, himself, Akoli, Cordina, the old Buatsi.
He seems to have a bit of power as well, though. He's not just your sort of pitter-patter amateur.
You've seen him against Tom
Whitfield. Who can box on the back foot.
He battered him.
Put a couple of stoppages together recently, and he's an exciting fighter.
Oh, massively exciting. Love him. I think match made in heaven. Josh Kelly, Adam Booth. I think fantastic together. Again, looking forward. He should be in a title mix next year, and good on him for he's on the undercard. It's a packed card that tomorrow night. Like you've got Martin J. Ward, we'll call him for people don't get mixed up with our Martin Ward. Fighting for the European. Katie Taylor, first world title defence in a good fight apparently. From what I've heard about this other girl, she can box. She's been calling Katie Taylor out for a while actually, for about a year. And
it's a bold move from Matchroom putting her as like the main event.
I like
at
it.
The top of the card. It's to be applauded. And
I like it as well.
I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite and say I'm a massive advocate of women's boxing.
I don't know. I'm not an advocate. It's not. I just don't know much about it. So I'm learning as I go. Really, I enjoyed watching Chantel Cameron the other week as well.
Yeah,
she was cracking.
It was impressive.
Good. Katie Taylor's a name, and
it'll be very interesting to see what the crowd's like come main event time.
I think they'll stay me. I think it'll be busy. I think I actually quite enjoyed the last fight, and I think they'll probably take.
I didn't see that one.
They'll probably take it to Ireland after this, and I think. I don't know. I'm warming to this women's boxing stuff, and I think good on her and good on Matchroom for doing it. And
I might sit and watch it tomorrow and see what I think.
Nicola Adams as well is doing obviously with Frank.
Disappeared, didn't she?
Where's she gone?
I don't know. She's still under Frank Warren promotion, but she's training in America.
Maybe so.
I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her for a while.
Natasha Jonas coming through, and I think they're going to really go for this with Katie Taylor. Take it to Ireland, take it to America.
There's talk of the fighting Jonas herself, isn't there? Putting them two together in the future.
But no. Obviously that Martin Ward. I think a fight that I've mentioned on Twitter that I'm really looking forward to is the light heavyweight sort of fight between Jake Paul and Miles-Chenko. I think that's a cracking fight that for both.
Who are you backing in that one?
What he means by this is
top tips
win with BBB hashtag. A couple of years ago now, I think it would have been. I was on the Quig Fountain undercard
the February
in Manchester. Right, excuse me. Miles-Chenko fought against Hosea Burton for the British light heavyweight title, and I think for a couple of weeks before that fight, I've got no idea why. I think it was because in our early days we interviewed Miles for British Boxing Blog, and
surprisingly, a boxer was confident about his performance and how he matched up to his opponent.
I gambled a small fortune on Miles-Chenko, and not only did I, but a lot of my friends did listen to my advice. My dad's workmates. So all in all, we all lost quite a bit of money.
I was going to say it wasn't like a close fight that didn't go his way. Unfortunately for Miles, Hosea battered him, and obviously his form was going mental during this, getting bombarded with messages of everyone he's just mentioned watching this fight.
I think my dad's workmate had a couple of £100 on Miles-Chenko.
Seemingly with this inside knowledge of this underdog that was going to pull off a good upset for some good odds.
But he's 5-2 tomorrow, 5-2 against, and I think, God, if I don't have £20 on him, it's karma, that, isn't it? You know what I mean? So I think I'll be depositing the Sky Bet tomorrow.
Spoken like a true gambling addict.
It's a good job we don't do a gambling column for British Boxing Blog. But no, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a crossroads fight. I like that saying, but it is. Jake's the up-and-coming youngster, but who also has a defeat on his record, and maybe that's shown a bit of vulnerability. Miles is.
He will give a bit of confidence to Miles-Chenko. All jokes aside, he will go into this fight
again. Miles
knowing that Jake can be got at and can be hurt. Miles
has been positive as ever. I see him today saying he's back in love with the sport. He's re-energised, re-enthused. So again, a good fight that I think could be fight of the night. I know Akoli's on there as well. Ted Cheeseman, Felix Cash, just packed a mental bill for York Hall. Really, I think it's cracking. Really looking forward to that. Wednesday night. Obviously, I'm meant to be at the Newcastle game against Everton tomorrow night, but it's pretty freezing.
I'll not be there. I'll be sitting watching this.
I think I could be sitting watching that with a pizza or something and enjoying that. Being the athlete that I am. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, and massive good luck again to Gary Corson tomorrow. British fighter fighting for a world title over in Australia against Jeff Horn, who obviously defeated Manny Pacquiao. And I think you wanted to mention Jeff Horn, didn't you? That the weight that is.
Yeah, he struggled.
He had to lose
over 8 pounds.
Over 8 pounds in 24 hours.
And
he's missing weight by a pound or so.
He's incredible. a big, strong welterweight, and I think that was what won him the fight against Pacquiao. Really, that Pacquiao's on the decline. He's slowing down a bit. He's not the biggest welterweight, barely really a super lightweight, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Horn just sort of bullied him physically. Boxed well in bits, but was mainly just roughing him up and setting a high pace and sticking with that. So you think, is he going to be able to maintain that tomorrow?
But I don't know much about
Jeff. Is it Corcoran?
I call him Corcoran, but I don't
Corcoran,
know.
And then one of us right. One of us is right. So then, will he be able to take advantage? I think Jeff Horn's probably a winnable world title fight, and it seemingly come out of the blue for Gary. So hopefully,
you couldn't turn it down, could he?
No, not at all. He don't blame him whatsoever. It's one of those where the match itself, the matchup will get slated, but from his point of view, of course, he's going to take that world title fight in Australia.
I don't know much about Horn. That's the thing. Is this normal for him? Does he lose weight like this every time he comes in? Is this what he does? Is this? I've got no idea. It seems a lot.
It's similar to Kell Brook, isn't it? If he's having to cut that much weight, it might not be this fight. Obviously, it wasn't his last fight, but at some point, that's going to get the better of him. And does he then? At what point does he step up?
I think he goes into his favourite, obviously, and Gary's is sort of voluntary defence, and
but you just
had to take that opportunity. And
everything we've just spoken about with James Degale and Caleb Truax, it's exactly the same as that. They've picked him because they think it's a very winnable first defence of his world title. Of course, as we've just seen this weekend, upsets can happen. Hopefully for us in the British point of view it does.
Oh, it'd be hellish. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to watch it live. I'm at work and obviously you're at work. But
unfortunately,
it's a real shame. I'll be keeping a close eye on it as possible whilst I'm at work. If my employers are listening, then ignore that. Of course I won't be. But good luck to him, and obviously we wish him all the best, and we'll talk about that next week. But again, it's a fight that I guess has gone under the radar, really, probably because it's on a Wednesday, it's on Box Nation, it's in Australia. It's not something that's been discussed.
Well, he's not a particularly big name over here.
No, he's not a big name over here.
It's not one that's...
I think he's unbeaten. I think he's got a draw on his record, is that right?
Jeff Horn,
Gary.
He lost to Liam Williams.
Liam Williams.
But that was up at super welterweight, so he's come down in weight as well. Those advantages I was talking about Jeff Horn being a big, strong welterweight, he's probably not going to have much of a size and strength advantage, which makes it an interesting fight to be honest. I think we might see a bit more of what Jeff Horn's like technically as a boxer.
100%.
Rather than relying on his physical gifts.
It's a shame. I will keep a close eye as I can on it. And let's hope he does it, man. A British champion at 147 would be amazing. British world champion. But
see Kell Brook cutting back weight.
But speaking of Kell Brook, do you want to quickly reflect on that news this week? Confirmation: March the 3rd, Sheffield Arena. Kell Brook's debut at 154 against Sergei Rabchenko.
I think the message you sent when you announced it and told me about that, the word underwhelming popped up.
Underwhelming?
It was exactly what was in my mind. I wasn't expecting him to go into the sort of deep waters of fighting a Charlie or someone like that.
I looked at the BoxRec ratings and I think this Rabchenko was 32nd or 27th, something like that. And I think, who would you realistically have put
against? He's 7th with the WBC. So that means, so obviously Brook wins, he's in a good position for a world title there already.
Lost 2. As Rabchenko, I believe. It was a fight Eddie Hearn said he didn't want. He said, "Oh Christ!" But it was a fight that he thought was an active game opponent, a big puncher. But Kell, stop rolling your eyes. Kell pushed for it. He says, "No, I want this fight."
I think there were harder fights out there for him, but it's his comeback.
It's similar to Degale, homecoming, comeback. He has to.
From
Tyson Fury have to have.
From that sense, it is a potential banana skin.
He's been through 2 wars, Kell, and he needs.
That's the thing.
He needs to win, and he needs to.
Kell's not going to be tested until I said this last week. I think or the week before, one of them. He's not going to be tested until he's in there with a big puncher who can potentially damage his face.
Yeah,
and he obviously needs to get back in there and take a few shots.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, Rabchenko might cause him some problems.
I'm glad it is.
It might be a confidence thing and just sort of getting back into the swing of it. But
I'm glad
it's a fight I expect him to win.
I'm glad it's him rather than, say, Sam Egerton. I'm glad it's an actual 154 fighter.
Oh, yeah,
rather
definitely.
than another blown up welterweight who's making the step up at the same time.
Well, that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
He wouldn't have learned anything from that anyway. And I know it was one that I think was jokingly mooted, and then some sources got hold of it and think, oh, this could actually happen. It could be Egerton, but he needs to test himself at 154 against super welterweight fighters. As you say, there's no point in him going up in weight and then fighting another welterweight who's come up in weight. It won't tell him anything.
No. Again, he needs to win and he needs to look good in doing it. And I just think, that's big fan of Kell Brook personally, and let's see him get back in the title.
Yeah, same. I mean, I was I'm very cynical there, but I'm a big fan of Kell. I think he's at 147. He could have been the man at the division. He could have been beating the likes of Danny Garcia.
He just couldn't make it for any longer.
Lamont Peterson. There was big fights out there that he could have won, but for whatever reason, one reason or another,
he bypassed him, I guess.
He didn't get those big fights, and then the one he did get.
Talking about? He had Frankie Gavin pay-per-view. Unbelievable, that, isn't it? When you think back.
That was one thing I said. I was like, at least this one isn't pay-per-view. It's going on normal Sky Sports.
Which is good. But there will be 2 pay-per-views before May. You'll have Joshua March 31st and Bellew here as well. So that's 2 in the first 5 months of the year.
Well,
so we'll
have one.
You're insinuating David Hale's breakdown, are you?
No, not at all.
But no, I think hopefully Dave Allen will be on that undercard. He's desperate for fighting. Hopefully he's going to rematch Len White Thomas on that if Len White turns up. So we'll keep eyes peeled for undercard announcements for that. But nice to see some dates getting filled in the diary for 2018 from Matchroom lot. What we got?
We've got a couple of items to do with MTK. We'll come to them in a minute.
Yeah.
Another little review from last weekend. We are strictly British boxing blog. We'll touch on a big fight that was on this weekend.
You want to talk Loma Rigo?
I do, yeah.
Softy.
Yeah, the latest addition to the Softy Club is Rigondeaux. I don't know where to start because Lomachenko does deserve credit, contrary to what I've read and what a lot of people are saying.
Aye.
Rigondeaux come up in weight 2 weight classes, which fair play to him in that sense, and that's the only respect I'm really going to give him there. Because from what I saw it was Sunday morning when I actually sort of watched it.
Yeah.
Lomachenko was pure class.
He is.
I think the size. It's cruel to say that the size didn't play much of a part, but I think if that fight had taken place at featherweight, it would have been a very similar result. Rigondeaux could have gone up to super featherweight and absolutely outboxed and outfoxed a lot of good fighters up there.
Yeah.
But what made the difference was Lomachenko having a bit of a size advantage, but also having superior skills, and that compared to Rigondeaux, that's a massive compliment. He's phenomenal.
He's incredible. He's absolutely incredible.
He's up there. I can't see anyone.
Do you ever think back
who can't put him as a pound for pound number 1?
Do you ever
or
think
in the
back?
top 3 at least?
How did Salido beat him? I feel like going back home watching that fight.
Salido came in overweight and basically roughed him up.
I wish he never got a beat.
Fouled him. Well, you say that, but then I think that
it hasn't. It doesn't blur anyone's view of him. He's absolutely incredible, but
I think that just goes to show that your unbeaten record means shit all, really.
How did he get beat?
He got outfought and out.
So is there a way to beat Lomachenko? Is what I'm asking you?
Well, if you come in overweight and don't give yourself away winning the title,
I'll take him.
But I think that Lomachenko was his second fight as a pro. He'd had one sort of fight where it probably wasn't tested at all, and then he was thrown into the deep end against a rugged, dirty, durable, strong.
I love that fight against Rigondeaux.
He was a world champion.
I love the making of that fight, and I just think I understood what Eddie Hearn was saying on Twitter last week. People going, "Why is it such a poor build-up and stuff?" It's because you don't want to call it a trade fight, but it's a fight. It's a fight for boxing purists, isn't it?
But then it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but they don't speak English. It hasn't been massively promoted.
But that's bollocks.
I know it's bollocks, but you can't speak to them, can you?
No,
what was the attendance there on Saturday?
Eddie Hearn said when Rigondeaux was at Super Bantam,
in the small,
he couldn't sell him. He couldn't sell Rigondeaux as an opponent for Scott Quigg. He couldn't, the reason Frampton wasn't, because it wasn't, there's no money in the fight.
Because they didn't want to
couldn't sell him. Yeah, of course they could easily have sold him as an opponent.
Yeah, of course they could over here. But when you've got 2 foreign fighters who can't speak English fighting in what was the attendance? 3,000? Was it the little Madison Square Garden?
It was in the theatre there.
And you just think, Lomachenko will continue to get bigger, and he'll just keep going and going and going. Like, I'd love to see him probably fight Mikey Garcia, I guess. Because I think he'd be.
But if Sky had that, you'd have Hearn and Nelson and all of them saying, "This is the biggest fight. Two best fighters in the world. First time double gold medal Olympic champions fighting each other."
That's true.
There's loads of it to sell, and you're right. You're saying it is one for
the Americans don't always sell things that well, do they?
It's one to sit back and enjoy. And I think Rigondeaux has robbed the public of what could have been.
I think that's the end of Rigondeaux now.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't like to write boxes off. And again, we talk about
he's never had the best image and
we talk about the respect,
respect
we have for boxers, and again, respect absolutely anyone at any level that steps through the ropes. But when you're getting paid $400,000 for a fight you've wanted, and we mentioned there that yes, he was massively avoided. I'm a massive fan of Frampton, but he wanted no part of Rigondeaux. McGuigan didn't. No. Quigg didn't. Santa Cruz didn't. They all moved up to avoid him, and I think his career's just gone from one disaster to another since then. That's time.
I know he came over here. He beat Jazza Dickens.
Well, he beat Nonito Donaire and absolutely embarrassed him and schooled him and was fantastic. And then, as you say, none of the other champions wanted anything to do with him.
It's just a shame now because he's always going to be remembered of the blow that bottled out of the Lomachenko fight because he had a bruised hand. And it's such a shame that people will end up talking about him in that way because he was elite. He was hellish.
As an amateur, and technically, in terms of skill, almost unrivaled. I think Lomachenko is probably one of the few pros that could rival him.
Agreed.
But Lomachenko, and maybe as a result of that Salido loss and that performance, he's got that spite and he's got that aggression that's needed to as a professional level. Rigondeaux, up until Saturday night, had never really been tested as a professional.
No, that's true.
And it's the first time he's had it put on him where he hasn't had things his own way.
Yeah.
And he's bottled it.
It's a shame.
There's no other reason for it.
No, you bottled it. It's a shame.
I think that combined with
He's never had a good promotional outfit or anything. He's
was
he's
with
gone from
Caribe Promotions or something, wasn't he? Then he signed with Rock Nation.
He's gone from disaster to disaster.
You don't know how much money he's made if he's made a
decent
amount.
He's a hot person to market, and I just think that's probably the end of him now, to be honest with you.
He's 37.
Unless he fights exhibition. Not exhibition fights,
in
but
Cuban years.
Fights equivalent and fights equivalents of Jazza Dickens. You know what I mean? Travels for paydays, I don't know.
Potentially, yeah.
Because he's got no marketability.
But then that's the thing,
now in the
even
US.
like
I don't know what you do with him.
Even like domestic level fighters, are they going to be particularly bothered about him? He's not going to sell, like you've just said there. It was a hard sell for him fighting Lomachenko. He's going to be a hard sell, but a big risk.
Of course,
I think he'd still comfortably beat those super bantamweights. Probably again.
There's always about will he turn up? Is he? Is he reliable? Everything seems. I don't know. He just seems to go from one disaster to another. Rigondeaux at times, and he's either been mismanaged or avoided, and it's just not looking good, is it? I don't think he'll return personally, but
no, I don't. I think that could be the end of him because the TV networks aren't going to bother with him. No. He's had Top Rank backing him previously. They want nothing to do with him.
It's all Lomachenko now.
As it should
be.
He's phenomenal. He's only going to get tested.
Do you think he just keeps going up in weight, Lomachenko? What do you do with him? How do you match him? Is what
he
I'm
has
saying.
to. I think there's some excellent matches at lightweight for him. So if he steps up another one,
got
Linares, Garcia. They're both good fights because they're top level talent as well. So
he beats Linares, but for me,
I think he would as well. I think he'd handily beat Linares. I think the Garcia one, he could outbox him quite easily. We've never really seen Mikey hurt.
No,
but he obviously carries power. So again, it's intriguing. It would be one to sort of one you could promote, but then. This one should have been.
You've just got to enjoy him when you can. And
but then I think
if you're a boxing fan and
there's some vacant belts the WBO lightweight is vacant at the minute. Ray Beltran's fighting for that. I think this weekend, or was it last weekend? It might be this weekend coming. And that's a winnable one. Obviously, Aram likes the WBO, works with them quite closely, so that could be another title. And he could probably go up to super lightweight, even welterweight with the right champion.
Jeff Horn.
And beat him like. There'd be a big size difference there, but you wouldn't.
Nah.
You could argue Lomachenko would be the favourite to beat Jeff Horn.
No, of course.
The WBO welterweight. So then that could be a 4-weight world champion, but he's only going to find a challenge, I think, when he's up against someone good and bigger than him.
I think, just as I said there, just enjoy him when you can. If you like boxing and you don't get turned on by Lomachenko, then there's something going wrong.
Honestly, some of the things he did,
he's unbelievable.
Were phenomenal.
He's a once in a generation fighter, really, isn't he? And just enjoy him for what he is.
He was boxing out, obviously, his southpaw stance, and he was throwing right uppercuts, and then literally within sort of a split second, it was a right uppercut landed. He backed off, found range, and then smashed him with a jab. and it was an absolute top level thing of show of skill. And what I was saying earlier was like there's probably one or two at most fighters you could rank above him, and I know pound for pound's all mythical and subjective and what, but I can't see anyone out there even after just like, is it 12 pro fights he's had now? Like,
is it 12 now for him?
It's 10 or 11 wins, I think, and then obviously he's 1 defeat. And even in that short space of time, in that short body of work, he's fought against some good level of opponents.
No, definitely.
He's made his last 4 quit. Amazing, not even stopped them, just like absolutely
too easy for him. This boxing game,
bamboozled them, frustrated them, and
he's incredible, a phenomenal talent.
I think his previous opponents, the likes of it was Mariaga was one of them, and Sosa, they were a level below. So when they quit, you sort of just accept it and think, well, they know they're not winning this. Whereas Rigondeaux, on a skill point of view, was meant to be is equal.
Is equal,
and. Nah. He just give up like after 6 rounds.
Bruised hand / broken heart.
I don't know what he's bruised his hand on because he barely hit Lomachenko.
Bruised his hand without throwing a punch. It's
quite a skill in itself.
Quick mention for Michael Conlan. Won again in the undercard. Had
he
a
did,
successful first year as a pro.
He went 6 rounds. He went the distance for the first time as a pro.
The Michael Conlan World Tour.
And he was impressive, to be honest, but in a different way. Like, he's blown his other opponents out, I think, within 3 rounds, and he boxed measure. He looked like a man who was happy to go the distance. We said that about David Price the other week, but this was obviously a higher skill level, and
of course,
in a totally different stage in his career.
It'd be nice to get him back over here, wouldn't it, next year, Belfast?
Well, they're saying Belfast, I think, for not his next one. I think he's New York again for St. Patrick's Day.
They're really building them out there.
Well, that would be like his year anniversary, really, because he turned pro on St. Patrick's Day, headlining over there.
The little Madison, he did,
But he showed like that he could box southpaw on Saturday night or Sunday morning, whatever you want to talk about. Another sort of string to his bow, really, and he's a fighter I really, really like.
Big year for him next year. Step him up. Or continue this sort of world tour,
I think they'll build up. I mean, he's been doing 6 rounders, so similar to what we talked about with Josh Kelly, there's no reason he can't go to 8 or 10 in the next couple of fights. He's another one who's been fighting limited opponents, but with winning records. And it helps develop that sort of confidence and get him used to the pro style. Obviously, I don't think that there's obviously less and less difference between the pros and the amateurs now. But they still need that little bit of time. Yes, you want to rush them on and push them on, but not everyone's going to be a Lomachenko who can be fighting for a world title within 2 or 3 fights.
No, absolutely not.
You'll get him to probably 10 fights or so, and then
take it from there.
Yeah, I think at some point in 2018 he'll be fighting for one of the WBO intercontinental titles and national titles.
Definitely,
and getting his ranking up that way.
He's ranking up 100%. But no, big fan, likeable fellow as well.
I'll put out there he'll be a world champion.
Without doubt. Aye.
Not the boldest of predictions.
No, nice. So you go for that one.
But I'll see what odds I can get on that. But he's an MTK fighter, and obviously this weekend I'll be going up to MTK Scotland.
I was going to say that. Do you want to? Obviously, you've been on your travels, and will continue to be on your travels this week as well. Do you want to tell them first about where you were on Friday night just gone? If you remember where you were on Friday night just gone.
Where was I on Friday night just gone?
You went to see the People's Champ.
Oh, funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking, I haven't been to a show in a while. But when you were talking about heavyweights, I was thinking, I was actually met Frank Bruno on Friday night at Seconds Out Gym in Ferry Hill, and that was another one of the gyms where we've been sort of really welcomed into, to be honest. The lads there.
Yeah, you have more. You obviously both have.
They extended the invite to both of us. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it. But I've been a few times to different events, and one of the last ones was Isham Pickering, who was doing some training with the youngsters, and again it was fantastic. The gym
How did they go about getting Frank Bruno up then?
Well, the gym was even for, as I say, for the Pickering night, but for Frank Bruno on Friday, obviously he's been up in the region doing a few talkings and stuff, for these book signings and things. So he was staying up in Newcastle anyway, and one of the lads, I think, had messaged him or had got in contact with him a while ago, and just said, when you're up, you pop into the gym, and he said, wow. And he thought, whatever.
He's as good as his word.
And he messaged him again saying, I know you're in the region, if you're in the area, blah, 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 you fancy coming down? He says, I'll come down. And I think they knew someone who had known Frank for years, so they had sort of a contact that way. But There was a few nervous faces because he was meant to get there at 6.
What time did you come?
It was about 15:15.
Right.
So that 15-minute period, you could see all the coaches pacing them down. There's all these kids ready to train, like with their hands wrapped, the gloves on, just sort of killing time, doing a bit pads and things, thinking, is he coming?
He turned out he was class.
And he come with straight away laughing. A couple of the kids obviously had no idea who he was really in terms of they knew of him and the name,
status, but
hadn't seen anything of him. And one of them turned around and he's like, he's got a deep voice, hasn't he? And they're like laughing their heads off. And I was just like, they've got no idea. Like,
amazing. Oh, that's class. I'm pleased he was as good as word. Like, that's top man. That like,
honestly, he was straight in the ring doing the pads with a couple of the kids, and it was
obviously Friday night, and he could have done what he could do. You know, he didn't have to be in Ferry Hill.
Honestly, he was there for nearly 2 hours doing the pads.
Brilliant.
And there must have been about 3 or 4 times someone had asked him, like, "Oh, you alright to do one more?" He's like, yeah, one more. And he looked out the ring and there was like 4 kids waiting. He was like, "Oh, you next?" Like, even though he'd already said that was the last one. And literally every lad there and a few lasses as well, like everyone there who wanted to get in and do a bit,
class,
did some. And he was really personable with them. Like, I was obviously stood ringside for a fair bit and taking photos and some videos and things, listening to what he was saying. He was asking them how many fights they'd had, like what the name was, what weight class they were in, all the rest of it.
Really put everything into it.
And and then like as they were boxing, he was like telling them to relax. He was correcting like individually, giving them feedback, and obviously that like
what an amazing experience.
Something they could take away for the rest of their life. And so you got different levels as well. There's some aspiring boxers who were probably on the cusp of turning pro themselves.
Definitely.
Had some advice for them. Some who hadn't even really laced on a pair of gloves properly. Only been trained a couple of months, and like some like really young kids as well. And it was just nice to see that all levels of experience getting
spot on that.
Some cracking treatment. Obviously at the end he signed some pictures for everyone, took photos, took some photos with like the group, the coaches. It was absolutely cracking. It was really, really good little night.
Oh, unreal, brilliant. And
thanks for reminding us of that.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us up as well to the guys up there. That's
as I said, we'll pop in and make mention that I need to start training again. So we'll,
did he?
Says I'll be getting fat.
No, he's just at a McDonald's, mate.
So we'll both go down. I'll get you into shape as
well. Next year, 2018.
A New Year's resolution.
And we might as well finish off with, again, you're on your travels.
Yeah, talking about my travels.
So am I, but I'm going to London to watch Newcastle away to Arsenal. So this
was it. It was going to be the Hay Bellew weekend, wasn't it? You were going to be down there for that as well.
But this will be our final show of the year. Covering final show of the year on Saturday. Familiar surroundings, and go on, I'll let you tell people where you're off.
Yes, we'll be back up to the Paisley Lagoon Centre for MTK Scotland's Christmas cracker there into the year. And the headline bout in this one is this is like the Lomachenko Rigo for us, isn't it? In terms of a domestic bout.
I've probably
we're talking about.
Go on.
I was just going to say we talked about the Northern Area equivalent. Yeah. Obviously a couple of weeks ago, and this one's for the Scottish featherweight title. Stephen Tiffany fighting Lewis Paulin, 2 lads that we've spoken to. I've definitely interviewed both of them.
Stephen Tiffany, I think I have, not Lewis, but I like them.
I think it was in one of the Edinburgh shows I'd spoken to Lewis. Might even have been his last fight or the one before that.
It's funny, it's just because, again, I know I've mentioned this before and people probably think, why do they do MTK Scotland and stuff, but I think when we first started this, we'd message them out of the blue, really, can we come up, can we interview your fighters and that, and they were probably like, who the hell are these? Like, and I remember Sam sort of digging us out, not digging us out, but
searching, looking for us.
Who a British boxing blog, and we were like, oh yeah, and us two saddles.
I'm so good at it. This isn't a video because he's just in the campus little wave. He said, hello, we're British boxing blog.
Ooh, us two. Anyway, and we sort of struck up a good rapport with Sam and Jono and Gary Jacobs and all the guys up there, and they've made us welcome, and we've missed a few. It's not easy. We can't always get to Scotland, but one of us normally can. We've both beaten Paisley and Meadowbank, and they put us some cracking shows up there, and I guess it's
good buffet.
Small hall shows with a larger show feel, if that makes sense. Very well produced, very well. Everyone's looked after.
Question this, and not in a negative sense, just asking what is the MTK remit, because they're putting on these sort of, as you say, small hall shows.
Yeah.
But because of the brand they've got across the country and obviously in Scotland as well, it's almost like a middle ground between your normal small hall local promoter and the big national ones. They've got a national presence, but they're putting on these regional shows, and it'd be interesting to see where they develop and how they kick on.
The Scottish shows are, when they fight, when it all goes ahead, and when they get a deep card like they have on Saturday, there's the cracking, and they've made a real conscious effort this year, I guess, to make all Scottish 50-50 fights. You've had Tommy Philbin, Rhys Pagan as one, and this is another. Cracking Scottish.
There's McCorry and Maguire as well. They had a good one for I think the super featherweight.
I know McCorry fought Moorhead as well. I know it's not Scottish, but again it was a 50-50 both winning records fight.
Deco Garrity as well. He fought on one of them against
I think
a lad with a similar record.
But this one, Tiffany Paulin, cracking. Scottish title on the line should be a great night for you.
Well, yeah, that's what we talked about before again, like how the unbeaten record shouldn't be as valued, but it isn't. You've got 2 unbeaten fighters here who are risking that record early on in their careers. There's sort of 18, 19 fights between them.
Definitely,
it should be a good one. I'm really looking forward to it.
A couple of familiar faces on the undercard. I think Lewis Benson's on there. It'd
be good to see him back out again.
Big fans of Lewis.
Had a good big crack with him in the past.
So it's, again, thank you to Sam and the team up there for extending the invitation.
Yeah, so next Sunday I'll do a little bit of a review of that one.
Yeah,
whenever you're back. Might be a bit later again.
Yeah, I'm back.
Recording around your hangovers.
They're back from Arsenal, so it shouldn't be too bad. On the Sunday, I should be back. Okay, obviously, then we'll obviously keep an eye on Billy Joe Saunders, David Lemieux. Saturday, isn't it? Saturday.
It is, yeah. That's the last cracking one.
The last major fight of the year, I guess, from a British perspective. So we'll discuss that again. And
I'm going with Billy Joe unanimous decision. We'll see if I'm justified in that or not.
Same, win with British Boxing Blog if you want to put some money on that. Or get your money on the Lemieux knockout, whatever. But no, again, good luck to Billy Joe and Ingle and all the guys out there for that. We'll discuss that Sunday. God, it's been a bit of a bumper episode this week, hasn't it?
I know, that's been well over an hour. We'll have a bit to chop out from the beginning, as we always do, when we're getting to our flow. But yeah, that's, we're trying to keep it as close to an hour as we can.
Yeah.
We've gone over that a little bit.
Go over that. But no, again...
Just think of it as like bonus footage.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again to... everyone for getting involved, asking us questions. Seems to be more than ever this week.
The questions.
Thank you for the shout outs from other guys as well. I think everyone's been spreading the love lately on Twitter. Different boxing podcasts and stuff. And long may it all continue. And again, thank you again for listening.
Thank you, and good night.